Hello everyone and welcome back to the practical PLC programming. In the previous video, we figured out that it's possible to change the functionality of any HMI button that you already created without disturbing the PLC or any ongoing process. In this video, I'm going to spill the beans. So let's figure out. Before I start, I assume that you're already familiar with the basic of the PLC programming. If not, please leave the comment so I will make a different video for the elementary stage. So in this video, I'm not going into the details of creating the HMI button or writing the PLC codes. We are only going to figure it out how to change the functionality of the button that you already created. As you remember, the first program that we written, it was working such a way that if you press the start pump, the pump was working, the start blower was working, and if we stop the pump, press the stop, the pump stop, the blower stop, or both of them stop working. If I double click on the stop button, you can see that the type of this button is a momentary button. It means that when one of these output is true, for example, start pump, the pump is working or blower is working, and you press the stop, the momentary button of the stop will energize the output once and will stop the pump or blower or both of them. Here you can see the variable that is linked to this button is the HMI stop. So it means that when this button pressed, the HMI stop becomes true, and in the PLC programming, when the HMI stop is true, it stops the pump or blower or both of them. So we also discussed that client asked us to change the program in such a way that if somebody or like a operator press the stop button accidentally, so it won't stop the process of the pump or blower. And first it warns us with the warning page that shows that okay, the pump is working, blower is working. Are you really want to stop the pump or blower? And then you have to decide that if you are going to stop or you want to ignore it. So I have to change the type of the button. So I cannot use the momentary button anymore because it's linked to the HMI stop only. And I'm not going to change the program in the PLC controller. And because of that, I have to just work around this button in HMI. Here we have the events. I'm going to show you that events here is empty because later we are going to use these tools to change the functionality of the button. So I close this program and I open the edited version. In edited version in HMI, we have two pages, page 0 and page 1. The page 0 is the same as the previous program, and the page 1 is the warning page. We go to the page 0. In the page 0, if I double click on the stop button now, you can see the type of the button is changed to the button and it's not linked to any variables. I don't have any variables here. But if I click on the events, you can see that I link this button to another subroutine, another program that is written in HMI in Visual Basic Program Language. And I name my call subroutine status check. So this event will open this program and click on this button. So let's open this program. I right click on the button and click on view code. This is the code behind this page or behind this button. It's the name of the subroutine is status check. So in event or action, it's linked to this subroutine. And then here, if you know a little about the Visual Basic programming, it's enough for you to write the codes. So this is a simple code. I define the variable name start, and then the code check first that if the status of the pump is true. The status of the pump is true because if you remember, we said that the pump is our first priority, and if the pump is working, and if we press the stop, we want to see the warning. So if the HMI, the pump status is true, then it will goes to the page 1. You can write the same code like this and you can try. So it will show the page 1. The page 1 I already created. That this is the page 1. So until here, if the HMI pump status is true, it means that if this pump is working, then the program will go through the subroutine. If you stop the button, we go through the subroutine and will show the warning page. Else, so if the pump is not working, for example, here the pump is not working, the blower is working, or none of them is working, then because you press the stop, and the program should run this and go through these codes, it will ignore the first if and then go to the second part, that is else, and it's another variable, the variable actually that we define. The variable, the HMI second will be assigned to the start, and then it will go through the loop. In this loop, the start will be added by 1. For example, if at that time, if the HMI second is like a 30 second, then it becomes 31 second. And the HMI second is still 30. So as soon as HMI second becomes 31, then it will go out of this loop. But as long as it's less than 31, the HMI stop becomes true. And then when it becomes 31, the HMI stop becomes false. This part is exactly the same as, it functions the same as momentary button. So I wrote a code that exactly do or function as a momentary button and only energize the HMI stop button for 1 second. So go back here. If I press the stop and the pump is not working, the stop button will be energized for 1 second to stop the blower or even to do nothing. Go back to the code. If you don't put the if you don't write the loop actually here, then because in HMI or in PLC, the codes will be will read from the top to the bottom, or will be run from top to the bottom, then the last command will always be energized. For example, if the last command is HMI stop is equal to false, the HMI stop button will be always false. So you have to make the loop like this to make it like a momentary button. So this is one of the tricks here. Now, imagine that, okay, the pump status was true, so the pump was working, and then it refers us to the page 1. So then we see the warning. In the warning page, we have a stop pump, cancel, and start blow. These buttons is, first I show the properties. These buttons is also button. It's not momentary button, it's button, so it's the codes behind that. We have the cancel button, we have the start pump, and we have the stop blower. So let's see the events here. If you press the stop pump, it will call another subroutine as a stop pump. If you press the stop blower, it will call the subroutine a stop blower. And if you press the cancel, it will just go back to the previous page or show the main page or page 0. So the cancel, it doesn't do anything. So there is no function for the cancel here. So let's see the code behind the stop and the stop blower or stop pump. Again, I right click and see the view the codes. Here is the subroutine for warning check. This warning check, later I will explain for you, that is going to be used for different variable warning number. I will explain for you later. But let's go to the subroutine of the stop pump. So if HMI pump status is true, means the pump is working. Again, we check here. Then it will turn off the pump, and then the LED or the status, and go back to the page 0. If the blower was working and if you stop the blower, so it will check first if it's working, and then it will turn off the blower, status or LED, and then go back to the page 0, the previous page. Okay, so by now you know how actually the stop or a stop pump or blower in a warning page is working. Let's see what's the warning check. Here in the page 1, we have a warning text. The first one is only a text. If I double click, it's just a text. It's just a string, it's just a text. It doesn't do anything. It just pop up when this actually window appear, it also pop up with the window. It's the text, you can edit it anything you want to write. That I write, are you sure you want to stop there? Stop what? Here, because I wanted to be dynamic, I didn't want to just put a pump or blower. So it should be possible to change based on the event that is happening. For example, if pump is working or blower is working. So if I double click on this and to the properties of this is not the text, this is the label. So I use the label here, and my label is dynamic. First, let I show you how to from where you can find the labels and all these things. I close this thing. Okay. Here in the toolbox, if you go to the standards controls, I think so. Yeah, you have the label here. You can use the label from here. You can use the text box from here. Okay, so I go back to the label. In the label, these two can be adjusted, can be changed. So if you click on the display value, I click on display value, it shows the data type. You can use the data type as a Boolean, numeric, or text. I use numeric because I want to use different status. So each status can energize different output, can actually show different text messages. So I use numeric. You can use Boolean, that is true or false, or you can use text. So in data type is numeric, and in the expression you have to use the variable. This variable is the warning number that I already included in the code here. If I go back to the code, just remember the warning number and go back to the code behind this page. In the warning check, we have warning number. If the HMI pump status and I written for the pump status that if HMI pump status is true, it means that if the pump is working, and then it goes through this if, and it make the warning number as 1. So assign the 1 to this warning number. If HMI blower is, the status of HMI blower means if the blower is working, it assign the number 2 to this variable, and it's numeric. And if both of them working, it's assign the 3 to this variable. You can have multiple different variables actually for different type of process, pump, blower, reactor, anything. So I have 1, 2, and 3. So I go back to the warning page, and here on the label, so the expiration is the warning number. So until here is everything okay, and then you click on the plus sign here. It open the text, the string, the text default that actually here decide that which variable or which text or which message has to be shown on the warning page. We have here resource ID, that is string 4, and expressions. In expression, again, we have warning number, and we have a status warning. You have to write it exactly like this, otherwise it doesn't work. So a status warning and warning number. So how it works actually. What is a string 4 first? I show you what is a string 4. I close this. And just remember, we have a string 4, a status warning, warning number. If you go down here in the resource, we have root. If you open the root, when you create any button in HMI, it will automatically define a resource ID for it. And here you can see the label. Okay, you can see the label is linked to the resource ID string 4. This is the string 4 that you have to put there for the label. So string 4 is for label, and then if you go to the status, you can see I defined for any warning different message or different text. Warning 1, that is the status warning 1 resource ID. Remember it. Show what message? Just pump question mark. Warning 2, the status warning 2, show blower question mark, and the status warning 3, pump and blower. Okay, I go back to the warning page and open the label, the properties, and here. So this is the string 4 that is linked to the label, and I have a status warning. So a status warning, go to the resource ID in the status and read the status warning. And now it's waiting. Waiting for what? Waiting for the number 1, 2, or 3. 1 or 2 or 3 will be actually linked to the warning number. So if warning number is 1, then it will show the status warning 1. If the warning number is 2, it shows the status warning 2. If it's the warning number 3, it will show the status warning 3. So I close this one, and then I think everything is settled down. So you know everything now about this kind of changing for the functionality of any HMI actually button. You can use the coding in HMI using the Visual Basic coding, and you can define different actually button through the HMI without disturbing the PLC programming. So I assume that everything is clear here. If you have any question, if you have any problem, if you, for example, try to practice by yourself, and you can follow the same things, because you can stop the video and write the codes in HMI or in PLC and try it by yourself. If you have any problem, any issue, you can comment and I will reply to you as soon as possible. Thank you so much again for watching the video, and please, if you enjoy, please subscribe and share. Thank you so much, and see you next video.